I would say probably five essential things you absolutely want to have in a lease. And so some of these may seem obvious, but they're a little more nuanced if you really think about it. So I'd say one is who's the landlord and who's the tenant. And it's surprising to me how often people actually get this wrong because they'll say, the landlord is John Smith. But it's actually not John Smith because John Smith doesn't own the land. It's owned by the John C. Smith Memorial Family
Ah,
Trust, right?
right.
So get the actual landowner down, and the same with the tenant, right? Not just the tenant farmer's name, but if it's a corporation LLC, who that is. So that's one thing. I'd say describing the property would be the second thing. It's surprising to me how many times this is not adequately done, and I'm not saying you need the formal meets and bounds. But
Yep.
you've got to have some way to describe the property. We've had people come to us and say, "Hey, the landlord won't renew this, and we're past the renewal date," but there's no description of the property in that. So that can be a problem. You want to say too, I'd say the third thing would be how long is the lease? 1 year, multiple years, and then what's the renewal process at the end of that term? Like
Mhm.
here in Indiana, if a lease doesn't say anything about renewal, then the landowner has 90 days before the end of the term to notify that farmer that they're not going to renew, or it will automatically renew. And so that becomes a
Yeah.
big problem for a lot of people who try to, terminate a lease on December 31st because it's too late
Yep.
often at that point. So that's another thing. Of course, how you're calculating rent, that'd be the fourth thing I would say is an absolute basic element you have to have in a contract. What is the rent? When's it supposed to be paid? And how's that calculated? And then the last thing would be some form of agreement that is a manifestation of the acceptance of the contract. And so something
Yeah.
where people sign it that they are acknowledging this is what we've agreed to. So if you have
Yeah.
those five things, we can work with you. If you're missing any one of those, then it's really a big question of enforceability.